What's up everybody, it's me Lone. I'm so sorry for the hiatus. I know it's been a while since my last video. My wife and I are actually moving at the moment, as you can kind of tell in the background. All my merch is packed away. Hopefully by the end of next week we're settled and I can start making videos frequently again. But until then, I'm going to try and make as many videos as I can, which includes today's video about Starfield's latest update. Starfield's latest update is in Steam beta, and this thing is absolutely huge. In fact, it is literally Starfield's biggest update to date. Even though Bethesda Game Studios didn't describe it as such, it is actually true. If you compare it to its previous biggest update, that was around 120 fixes or so. This is over 400 fixes. There are so many quest fixes and graphics fixes, UI fixes, etc. in this update. It's pretty mind-boggling. And there are some new gameplay features and quality of life improvements to talk about. Not that many, mind you, when it comes to the latter, but still some that we can chat about. So in today's video, I'll tell you everything that you need to know about this latest update. However, I do want to begin this video with a bit of a chat about Starfield. I think it's necessary at the moment when it comes to the state of the game, community sentiment, player-based numbers, and just generally what the future of this game could hold, especially in light of updates like this. I'm well aware as to how negative discourse around Starfield is at the moment. Unfortunately, that is the reality. If you were to look at Steam reviews, they seemingly continue to drop day by day. I think it's at it's at mix at the moment, and 6 out of 10 on average, right, as a whole. And then you look at a lot of the articles being released about the game recently, a fair few of them are about player-based numbers dropping by like 97% since launch. There is a lot of negativity. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying that negativity is by any means unfounded. In fact, I firmly believe a lot of the criticisms that have been levied towards the game are very much valid, right? It's valid, legitimate criticism based on people playing the game and thinking, I don't like it for X, Y, and Z reason. So I'm not discounting that criticism whatsoever. The reality is, it's been negative, and sometimes it's a bit of a bummer, especially for people that do like the game, that are looking forward to content, to see a lot of that stuff day by day. So what I want to do is use this update as a way to say, I don't think things are so doom and gloom. In fact, if you look at what BGS has been doing with these updates, it's clear they're on a mission here. They are on a mission to make this game as stable as possible when it comes to performance and bugs. So when they are releasing actual new content, whether it's Shattered Space or other DLC or indeed mod support, when they're releasing that stuff, the game is in a good position, because if people are coming back to the game to experience that kind of content and they're experiencing the exact same bugs that they encountered at launch, absolute disaster. That would be a horrible look for the game. That stuff needs to be stamped out, and I've said this in multiple videos in the past, especially when it comes to quest blockers. So given that situation, when you look at this latest update with over 400 bug fixes and a lot of quest blocker fixes and all that kind of stuff, in my eyes, it is absolutely a good thing. It is setting a nice foundation for future content to come to this game. But with that being said, I am now going to say, after this really big update with a lot of bug fixes, it is now time for new content. I think Bethesda Game Studios, don't get me wrong, don't stop releasing bug fixes. That should always be a part of every patch, right? But now focus on new content when it comes to your big patches. That I think is necessary right now, because even hardcore fans of Starfield are kind of twiddling their thumbs and thinking, where is the new content for the game? Where is Shattered Space? Where is the other DLC? Where is official mod support? We want to see that stuff coming to the game, and I think now is absolutely the time. If we saw another 1, 2, 3, 4 really big updates that just had bug fixes, don't get me wrong, it's nice for people still playing the game, but many people have stopped playing the game, right? Even though I don't like those articles that are like, this single player game has dropped by this many players since launch, because all single player games go through that, right? There is still a valid argument in there that many people have stopped playing because they have no new content to experience. That is just the reality. So, new content, I believe, is now needed. Even though I'm giving Bethesda many kudos for these bug fixes, I think now they do need to change their approach up a little bit. But let's talk about this latest update, right? As I mentioned, there are a lot of fixes. It is entitled Starfield Update 1.10.30. It was released on the 6th of March, which is actually my birthday, so happy birthday to me. So this is what they have to say in their BethesdaNet article about the patch notes. That is linked in the description below. Say cheese. Our latest update brings new ways to show off your modeling skills in space with the addition of new poses and expressions for you and your companions. We excitedly await more showing off of your photography. We also understand that digipicks are precious, so we've made an adjustment that allows you to undo without the penalty cost of a digipick during the security minigame. Thank God for that. Why are digipicks so rare in Starfield, and why were we losing them so quickly? Anyways, not without fixes, we also have a multitude of fixes to quests, graphics, gameplay, and more. Take a look at the full list below for all the details, blah, 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 blah. So we're going to go through as much as we can. As I said, there are over 400 fixes, so I can't talk about everything. Otherwise, we'll be here for 5 hours. But we're going to talk about all the features added to the game, and I'll summarize a lot of the big fixes that have been implemented, right? So starting off with those features. First of all, photo mode. They added the ability to set expressions and poses on player and companions in photo mode. So for those of you that do use photo mode a lot, you are going to be able to use expressions and poses. That is nice, though I will say, would have been nice to see it at launch. You have it in Fallout 76, would have been nice to see it in Starfield. But it's come to the game finally. And then we have scanner. You can now open doors and harvest with the scanner open. Setting course on an inactive quest will now make it the active quest. Nice little quality of life improvement there. They added support for adjusting FOV when using third-person ship view. Thank God for that. That's my preferred view. They added an anisotropic filtering quality slider for PC. Another one of those things which probably should have been in the game earlier. And they did this with FSR 3 and DLSS and all that, but it's come to the game. That's good. They again removed the digipick cost for using undo during the security minigame. Really nice improvement there. They added an autosave when fast traveling from a planet's surface to orbit. And finally, they updated the ship UI to perform more smoothly at higher frame rates. And that, of course, was necessary because with the DLSS, with FSR3, with frame generation, a lot of people were playing the game at higher frame rates, and that probably made those issues much more abundant. So, those features are nice. Now, a lot of people are saying they're not setting the world on fire. There are much bigger quality of life improvements, much bigger features that Bethesda could add to the game. And I actually do agree. I do agree that there were bigger fish to fry here and stuff that they've mentioned publicly, right? Like they mentioned city maps. They mentioned new ways of traveling. Whatever that means, sounds cool. They mentioned all these other cool gameplay features and quality of life improvements that we still haven't seen being added to the game yet, right? I want to see more stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, photo mode is great for people that love photo mode, but I don't really use photo mode. So I would like to see this other stuff. I would like to see, again, save file thumbnails. I've been mentioning save file thumbnails for so long. I don't know why. If it was a thing in Fallout 3, it was a thing in Fallout 4, why is it not a thing in Starfield? That needs to be part of the game ASAP, so I know what these save files are doing, right? I would like to see a dialogue tracker like we saw in Fallout 76. That was a nice improvement to the game. Again, city maps it's so needed. Why doesn't this game have city maps yet? I would like to see a transmog system as well. And again, the new ways of transportation. Just tell us what these new ways of transportation are, and then you can let us know when they come into the game. They're leaving us on red when it comes to that one. But yes, these features are nice. I just think there are bigger fish to fry, as I mentioned. So hopefully we do see city maps, all right? City maps next update. Please, Bethesda, if you do that, I will be a happy man, all right? And maybe save file thumbnails as well. But moving on, let's talk about a lot of the fixes that have been added to this game. A lot of fixes, man. I can't list all of them. I'm going to list some of the main ones and summarize the rest of them. But they're across many different categories like art and gameplay and graphics and outposts and quests and save and load and ships and text and localization and UI. Lots of fixes, right? If you want to see the full list, as mentioned, they are in the description below. And I encourage you to read them because especially if you have very specific quest blocker issues in your game, you need to see whether yours has been addressed. A lot of them have been addressed, but not all of them, okay? So keep that in mind. But let's start off with the art fixes to the game. So first of all, they fixed an area that allowed the player access to the New Atlantis ship technician's vendor chest. Now, this was technically an exploit, not really an art fix here, Bethesda. I'm on to you. As is the next one, fix the gap that allows players to access spacesuits without picking locks of one of the spacesuit display cases. Again, that was the exploit that allowed you to get the spacesuit early without needing to max out your skill. I'm on to you, Bethesda. I see what you're doing here, trying to mask exploit fixes as regular fixes. So moving on, fixed an issue that could cause the fish worker mask to not be visible when equipped, fixed a spot where the player could get out of the world on the Siren of the Stars, fixed a rare issue that could cause a player to remain stuck under an elevator, and for the rest of the art fixes, it's a very similar story. They fixed flickering textures, object placement, places where players could get stuck or go out of the map, disappearing or missing assets, intersecting objects, physics and collision bugs, places where you can see out of the world, floating objects, improved LOD for flora, and just generally minor art fixes related to quests and different assets. So it's a nice set of fixes for art in the game, but you know what? If something's an exploit, don't pass it off as a regular fix, right? Just say it's an exploit. We can all read between the lines here. Now, when it comes to gameplay fixes, right? Again, another nice set of gameplay fixes. I'll talk about the main ones and summarize the rest. First of all, they fixed an issue with ship power allocations decreasing unintentionally due to crew member bonuses. Crew bonuses for ship weapon recharge times should now be applied as intended while in targeting mode. They fixed an issue that could turn the player's head to the left when sprinting in third person. I never encountered that. Address an issue that could cause artifacts to become inaccessible if the player left the location for a long time without retrieving them. I wonder if those artifacts are going to respawn if someone could no longer pick them up. I really do hope so. Let me know in the comments below if you can confirm that. They fixed an issue that could cause the player housing decoration to be lost when there is a state change in New Atlantis. Resolved an issue where Sarah could appear non-interactable if she was assigned to a ship or outpost during a conversation with Walter in the lodge. Resolved an issue where the player could be affected by weather while inside. Nice to see them fix that. And again, it's a similar story with the rest of the gameplay fixes, right? They fixed minor issues with planets, damage bugs for certain enemies, better difficulty balance for certain interactions, lots of bug fixes when it comes to using certain powers and skills. They address damage scaling issues in New Game Plus, general player character collision issues, combat fixes, bug fixes for certain weapon mods, skills and types, soft locks, crashes, looting fixes, character placement and pathing, enemy spawns, ship combat fixes, and just various stability improvements. Really a nice number of gameplay fixes. Honestly, I do need to give Bethesda kudos on these fixes, and we haven't even gotten to the quest fixes yet, which is arguably the most important thing when it comes to this update. But next up are the graphics fixes, right? So they've improved lighting on particles at night when using the flashlight, especially if you're on PC, on either medium, high, or ultra, and if you're on Xbox Series X. They fixed rare depth of field visual issues. They fixed an issue that could cause the sun's lens flare to disappear when partially occluded by an object. Fixed another issue causing the sun's lens flare to have the wrong size when modifying the FOV. Fixed an issue that could occasionally display the bloody sun's lens flares everywhere. They fixed an issue that could occasionally display the sun's lens flare through opaque objects around the edge of the screen. Fixed a rare issue that could cause shadows or lighting to flicker during sunset and dawn. And again, generally very similar story with the rest of them. They fixed some light and object flickering, unintentional blurring, missing lighting effects, pixelated shadows, character hair clipping, and just generally various VFX, texture, geometry, shadow quality, and performance fixes for graphics. So nice little set there. We've already seen a fair few improvements in the graphics department. That's why I believe that section is a little bit smaller than the others. But next up, we've got outpost fixes. A lot of nice outpost fixes for those of you that really do like outpost building in the game. So first of all, they resolved an issue that could make a workbench appear to be obstructed, fixed an issue with outposts where the player could see an infinite loading spinner while using the fly camera. That was a big fix, so really nice job on that one, BGS. Resolved an issue with displaying survey data on data slate display stands in outposts. Fixed an issue that could cause items placed on mannequins to be displayed incorrectly. What is the problem with mannequins in BGS games? They've always had an issue with them, whether it's Starfield or even as far back as Skyrim. Do you remember the mannequins would just walk around on their own? Why are mannequins such an issue? I think it's because they're technically actually NPCs in the game that are just still. But I don't know why they can't fix these issues. Anyways, moving on. They fixed an issue that could cause objects placed near a connected hallway to disappear if the containing hab module was removed, tweaked the snap distance for storage containers, and improved visible line for moving around objects for link. So again, a nice number of improvements and fixes when it comes to outpost building in Starfield. Though I will say, I believe Starfield still has a ways to go to improve this feature to compete with the likes of, camp building in Fallout 76, or let alone settlement building in Fallout 4. I still believe that was a little bit more fleshed out. But it has a ways to go. If you compare it to 76, it's an absolute night and day difference. Now, to be clear, obviously, 76 had so many more years to add to that feature and continually improve it. But Starfield can learn a lot of lessons from 76 in that department. So hopefully they do continue to add to it and iterate. But now let's talk about arguably the most important category for this update, quest fixes. There are so many bloody quest fixes in this update. It's actually insane. A lot of quest blockers that have been addressed. Now, to be clear, Not all of them have been fixed, all right? I believe locate the ECS constant is still something that hasn't been fixed yet, but there have been a lot of fixes to quests. So look in the description below, look at the patch notes, and see if any issues that you are encountering are actually fixed. Hopefully, I'm keeping my fingers crossed for you, but hopefully one or a lot of your quest blockers have been fixed in this update. And I can't go through all of them. I can't even go through all the quests that have received fixes, right? I want to try and list some of them. Right? These are some of the quests that have received fixes. A Break at Dawn, Absolute Power, All the Money Can Buy, Back to the Grind, Back to Vectera, Background Checks, Bare Metal, Bone Dry, Breach of Contract, Castillo's Revenge, Commitment with Barrett, Deep Cover, Delivering Devils, Echoes of the Past, Entangled, Eye of the Storm, Eyewitness, Final Thoughts, Find the Missing, Friends Like These, Fueling Greatness, Grunt Work, Guilty Parties, Hard Luck, Hostile Intelligence, In Memoriam, Incoming Storm, Juno's Gambit, Keeping the Peace, Leader of the Pack, Legacy's End, Lost and Crown, Mantis Shakedown, Matters the Heart, Minor Inconvenience, Miss Beyond Measure, Misconnections, New Driver, One Giant Leap, Operation Starseed. I want to do all of them. Power from Beyond, Prank Caller, Red Tape Reclamation, Red Tape to Runaround, Research Outpost, Party Cruise, Revelation, Robot Survey Team, Rook Meets King, Sabotage, Supply Mission, Super et Ultra, Surgical Strike, Survey Says, The Audition, The Best There Is, The Devils You Know, The Empty Nest, The Old Neighborhood, The Unusual Outpost, Unearth, The Runaway, War Relics, and Worlds Apart. All of those quests, and maybe some that I missed, have received fixes to some degree, right? And a lot of them have to do with quest progression and quest blocking, so thankfully that is the case. There's also a lot of other things fixed as well. So when it comes to objectives getting stuck or not updating properly, characters not going or appearing where they're meant to, general quest progression, control locks, dialogue issues, quest marker issues, dialogue inconsistencies, enemies not appearing, characters dying when they're not meant to, general exploits, enemy difficulty, certain areas no longer being incorrectly inaccessible, and just general quest inconsistency fixes. So I've got to say right now, and I've been quite critical towards Bethesda when it comes to quest issues in past videos, I've said that these are absolutely the priority to fix. This is them putting their money where their mouth is, right? This is absolutely them treating this as a priority. Kudos Bethesda. This is like a huge, huge patch, a huge fix when it comes to a lot of these quest issues in the game. Hopefully a lot of you actually do receive some of the benefits of those fixes. If you haven't, continue to let BGS know. They've shown that they've committed to fixing a lot of these issues. And I'm sure a lot of other issues that haven't been addressed in this update will probably be fixed soon, especially if they are major quest blockers in the game. But finally, let's address some of the last categories of fixes. So when it comes to saving and loading, they resolved an issue that could cause bonus skins to appear to be removed from stored items after loading a save, fixed an issue where loading a save prior to repairing Nia Kalu's ship could prevent the player from activating the switches, addressed a rare issue that could cause locations to be positioned incorrectly after loading a save, and fixed a rare issue that could cause the player to appear to be in a falling state, unable to interact with characters or rotate the camera as intended. And then with ships, they fixed a rare issue where New Atlantis would appear to follow the player's ship, fixed a rare issue where the player could end up in a bad state if task swapping while fast traveling in space, fixed an issue that could cause furniture to be doubled, fixed floating items found aboard some ships, fixed an issue that could result in missing items in ship after a module modification, and address clutter items blocking pathways and ladders in ships. Thank God they fixed that. I know that was a big issue. Next up, we've got text and localization. Special descriptors and weapon names now appear properly when playing in localized languages. Updated ship persuasion minigame text for localized languages. Fixed various typos and translation errors, and fixed various text display issues. And finally, for the user interface UI, they added the ability to invert the X-axis on a controller in the settings menu. How was that not a thing before? Jesus. Holding RB or Alt on the star map will now show you the names of all star systems. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful quality of life improvement. And finally, fix an issue that could rarely cause the wrong ship to appear on a landing pad after editing ships. So we're at the end of this video, and I just want to say, we've covered the good and bad when it comes to Starfield. We've covered the good and bad when it comes to this update in particular. But I have to say that this is a fantastic update from a bug fixing perspective. Really it is. A lot of people criticized BGS for their previous update, which only had around 120 bug fixes or so, right? I thought that was okay. Some people thought that wasn't enough. Over 400, this is a lot, right? This is what we should be getting for Starfield, and BGS is delivering. But as I said, the next step is new content. The next step is them releasing DLC, releasing Shattered Space, and eventually mod support. I would like to see Shattered Space first, only because receiving mod support isn't something big straight away. It will take months for modders to develop really nice mods for the game. But if we get Shattered Space first, we can enjoy that, and then they can release, mod support, and then we eventually get the cool mods for the game. That's the order I would prefer. But let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about this update in the comments below, Wastelanders. This has been the Lone Vault Wanderer, and until next time, please take care of yourselves, and would you kindly keep fighting the good fight.